Imagine waking up tomorrow, and every single person on the planet is rich. No more debt, no more poverty. Sounds amazing, right? But what if I told you that simply printing more money could actually destroy everything? Like and stay tuned for the answer. Why can't we print more money so everyone can be rich? It's a question that has crossed most of our minds at some point. If money is just paper or numbers on a screen, why can't governments print as much as they want and make everyone wealthy? It seems simple, but the truth is far more dramatic and dangerous. Let's dive into the mysteries of money, wealth, and why endless printing doesn't work. What's the real reason we can't just hit print and solve poverty? What is money, really? To understand why printing more money doesn't make everyone rich, we first need to ask, what is money? It might seem like just paper bills or coins, but money is actually a tool we use to trade value. It's a symbol of what we can exchange, like goods or services. Let's say you work at a coffee shop. You get paid for making coffee, and you use that money to buy groceries, pay rent, or treat yourself to a nice meal. Money isn't valuable because of the paper it's printed on. It's valuable because people agree that it represents the worth of the things you want to trade. But here's where things get tricky. What happens when there's too much money and not enough goods or services to trade? That's where the whole system starts to break down. The inflation nightmare. Inflation is when the prices of everything, groceries, rent, cars, start going up because there's too much money chasing the same number of goods. Imagine this. You wake up one morning, and suddenly, the government has printed so much money that everyone has millions of dollars in their bank accounts. You rush to the store to buy the things you've always wanted. But wait, the store owner realizes that if everyone has millions, they can charge more for their products. That $2 loaf of bread? Now it costs $200. A new phone? It's not $1,000 anymore, it's $10,000. That's inflation in action. When more money is available, the prices of goods and services go up. Why? Because money only works when it's scarce. The value of money comes from the balance between how much of it exists and how much stuff it can buy. When there's too much money, its value goes down and prices go up. Hyperinflation, when things go off the rails. Let's take it a step further. What if the government didn't just print a little more money but kept the presses running non-stop? Welcome to the wild world of hyperinflation, where money loses its value so fast that prices skyrocket in just days, or even hours. This isn't just a theory, it's happened in real life. Take Zimbabwe, for example. In the 2000s, the government printed so much money that the inflation rate hit over 79 billion% per month. What the? People were carrying wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. At one point, a single Zimbabwean dollar was worth less than toilet paper, so people actually started using the bills as toilet paper.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit.
In situations like this, more money doesn't mean more wealth. It means chaos. Suddenly, your life savings aren't enough to buy dinner, and businesses collapse because no one knows what anything is worth anymore. The Venezuela Crisis. Another dramatic example of hyperinflation comes from Venezuela. The government tried to fix economic problems by printing more money, but the result was disastrous. Prices doubled every 19 days in 2018. A cup of coffee that cost 2,000 bolivars one week could cost 4,000 just a few days later. people couldn't afford basic necessities like food or medicine. Venezuelans were fleeing the country just to survive, and some turned to cryptocurrencies or other foreign currencies to escape the worthless bolivar. Even though the government printed more money, the people became poorer and poorer. The real secret, the balance of supply and demand. If you are at a party with 10 pizzas and 10 people, everyone gets a slice. But if 100 more people show up and you still only have 10 pizzas, those slices are going to get really small, and maybe even disappear. It's the same with money. If we double the amount of money but there's no increase in the number of things to buy, each dollar is worth less. Germany's hyperinflation. Here's another strange but true story. After World War I, Germany faced massive debt, so the government started printing more and more money to pay off their debts. But this only led to hyperinflation. By 1923, prices were so out of control that people needed billions of marks just to buy basic goods. At one point, it cost 200 billion marks to buy a single loaf of bread. People were desperate. They burned their money to keep warm because it was worth more as fuel than as currency. The German government's attempt to solve its financial crisis by printing more money only made things much, much worse. How central banks print money safely. You've probably heard the term printing money used to describe what central banks do, but in modern economies, they don't actually print paper bills. Instead, they often create digital money that's injected into the economy through financial institutions. Here's an example of how it works. After the 2008 financial crisis, the Federal Reserve used a tool called quantitative easing, QE. This involved the central bank creating new money digitally, which was then used to buy financial assets like government bonds. By doing this, the central bank injected money into the economy without causing hyperinflation. Why didn't this money flood the economy and send prices skyrocketing? Because central banks are very strategic. They're careful to adjust interest rates and monitor economic activity so that the amount of money grows at a pace that matches the growth of goods and services. It's like walking a tightrope: too much money, and inflation spirals out of control; too little money, and the economy stagnates. A strange history lesson. Before central banks used tools like quantitative easing, the world operated under the gold standard. Under this system, the amount of money a country could have was directly tied to its reserves of gold. You couldn't just print more money unless you had the gold to back it up. The gold standard was meant to keep inflation under control by limiting how much money could be in circulation. If a government wanted to print more money, they first had to get more gold, which created a natural limit on how much money could exist. But here's the strange part: even though the gold standard limited inflation, it also limited economic growth. If a country's economy grew faster than its gold reserves, there wouldn't be enough money in circulation to support that growth, leading to deflation and economic slowdowns. Countries eventually abandoned the gold standard in favor of more flexible monetary systems that allowed central banks to adjust the money supply based on the needs of the economy. Debt, another way money is created. Most money isn't created by central banks at all. It's actually created through debt. When you take out a loan, whether it's for a house, a car, or a business, the bank essentially creates new money. This is called the fractional reserve banking system. Let's say you want to buy a house, so you take out a mortgage for $200,000. The bank doesn't just hand you a suitcase full of cash. They credit your account with $200,000 that didn't exist before. This new money is created based on the assumption that you'll pay it back over time, with interest. This is how most money is created in modern economies, not by printing bills or central banks creating digital money, but through banks issuing loans. As long as the economy grows and people pay back their loans, this system works well. But if too much money is created through debt and people can't repay it, it can lead to economic crises, like the 2008 financial meltdown. Japan, a case study in money creation. Japan's central bank has been experimenting with money creation for decades, trying to stimulate economic growth without triggering massive inflation. In the 1990s, Japan's economy was stagnating, so the Bank of Japan started using low interest rates and quantitative easing to inject money into the economy. However, unlike in Venezuela or Zimbabwe, Japan didn't experience runaway inflation. Why? Because its economy was already struggling with deflation, the opposite of inflation. Prices were falling, and people weren't spending enough money. By carefully managing its money supply, Japan was able to avoid hyperinflation, though its economy is still facing challenges. What's the solution to making everyone richer? If printing more money isn't the answer, how do we make people wealthier? The real solution lies in creating more value in the economy. This can happen through innovation, better education, improved infrastructure, and more efficient ways of producing goods and services. When a farmer invents a new tool that helps him plant crops faster, he produces more food with the same amount of effort. That extra food isn't just more stuff, it's more value for everyone in the economy. He can trade the extra food for more goods or services, improving his quality of life and the lives of those around him. Think about it. 100 years ago, the wealthiest person on earth couldn't enjoy the luxuries that many of us take for granted today, like air conditioning, smartphones, or access to the internet. This is because true wealth comes from the advancements in technology and productivity that make life better for everyone, not from simply having more money in your pocket. Now that we've explored the dangers of printing money, let's hear from you. What strange, midnight questions are rattling around in your brain? What secret mysteries of the world keep you in the shower? Drop them in the comments, and we'll tackle the best ones in future episodes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more answers to the world's most bizarre financial mysteries.